First of all, I want to thank my friends at Legg Mason for giving us this beautiful building with a gorgeous view. Thank you, Legg Mason. Hi, this is Jennifer Annenberg, and I'm here with a very special guest, no less. It is the one and only Amy Kirchen. She had a dream of designing for women, and now she has a double-sized boutique in Milford, our very own Milford in Cincinnati, Ohio. She does ready-to-wear, couture, proms, weddings, and was even voted Woman of the Year by Cincinnati Chic magazine. Welcome, Amy Kirchen.
Thank you for having me.
Amy, I have to ask you, first of all, how do you juggle? I know you have kids, you have life. How do you juggle all this stuff?
Well, I think the key for me is finding a good balance and scheduling things out. It was difficult to find a balance at first because, you know, I opened the business and I have two little ones. Sure, yeah, and trying to juggle everything, but I somehow found a balance and I'm able to juggle it all, and you know, it's stressful sometimes, but it's worth it.
But how, I mean, I guess what people normally want to know is, how did it start? I mean, people who have a dream, you had a dream of dressing women, and then how did it go from there to there?
Point A to point B. Well, gosh, let's see. My interest in fashion started when I was a little kid. I grew up with a mom who was a seamstress. She made bridal gowns, actually in Milford, which is coincidental.
Wow.
This store that closed
Full
years
circle.
ago.
That's
and I used to make little clothes for dolls, and you know, long story short, I didn't realize that I would have a career in it until about 7 years ago. I just took this leap of faith and started sketching and designing and developing little mini collections, and you know, you have to take it to the next level. So we decided to, well, me and my husband decided to open a business up. So it's a leap of faith. It's like diving off of a mountain.
Leap of faith, I think, is so important, Amy. And we've talked about this before. I know Amy personally, and I so admire her. People, we have dreams. We all have dreams, and we all have ideas. And I think part of the reason why people watch this show is because they want to know, how you go from having a dream to reality. And what would you say? What gives you that confidence to have to take that leap of faith?
Well, I first of all think you need to be passionate about what you're wanting to do. You need to have courage to do it, and willing to work hard. And the leap of faith is just doing it. I mean, you're the only one stopping yourself in the end. And there's a lot of steps, obviously, that you have to take in order to make it to wherever you want to go with it, but it's really passion and courage and willing to work hard for it.
And not just being a devil's advocate for people who think they have passion. You know, the people who go to work every day and they have passion, and they're not getting the results. What do you say? Do you say hang in there? Or maybe they're not in the right business that they should be in? Or, you know, for someone who's successful, we're trying to pick your brain. What is wrong then with that formula?
Well, I think happiness and success is based on each individual. I mean, some people are happy with being a stay-at-home mother, or with, you know, whatever. I think happiness and success go hand in hand with what you have in your life. If you're not happy with the successes that you currently have, you need to step back from it all and take a look at your life and say, you know, what steps do I need to take to get to where I want to be? And you know, look back and assess what you have going on in your life.
I mean, so to you, what is success?
Happiness. Success is happiness. Whether I own my boutique for the rest of my life and do custom wear just for Cincinnati, or I, you know, launch and become an international designer, it doesn't matter. As long as I have my family and I'm happy, that's success to me.
Well, was there a time when you felt like you made it, that you knew, like, wow, I really feel like I'm successful?
Sure.
Can you pinpoint that moment?
Sure. It would probably be when I launched a collection in 2010, and people started knocking on my door for all this custom wear, and it just came in, and I would say probably the end of last year, I woke up and I said, wow, I mean, this is full force, and I finally feel like successful, you know, what I'm doing. So I can rely on my career and what I've built so far. I feel like very successful. So.
And it's not an overnight thing,
no,
of course. This is taken, you know, people look at you now and they're like, okay, boutique, she did it overnight, or she did, you say 7 years, or?
7 years, or it could be longer. I mean, you have a dream and an idea that, you know, you start with, and then just taking it to the next level and continuing to take it until you get to that point. It's very hard work.
But did you have sort of affirmation along the way? Did you have like, okay, this hooked up with this, or this person said you did a great job.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean?
Well,
is that also
that is
what you feel is a formula as far as what people know they're on the right track?
Well, and I think you put yourself in a situation, and when you start in fashion, it's very aggressive and a very hard industry, and you kind of take any opportunity you can get. So I was doing everything I could to get my name out there. I would take on every client that I could, and you eventually, I'll do a show, and then that leads to a client who leads to this, who leads to 100 clients.
Right.
You know, it's putting yourself out there and not turning anything down.
So it's saying yes.
Saying yes.
I'm a big believer in that, and I think that that also has been a formula amongst many people we've talked to, amongst very successful people, inside and out. People who feel not only successful, when you look at them, they look very successful, but people who feel happy as well. I think they're yes people.
Sure.
They're yes people.
Well, you have to take chances. You have to take every opportunity and every chance you can get in that industry and do it. You're going to start at the bottom rung of the ladder in any business, and you have to work your way up. And doing that is taking chances and taking any opportunity you can, because it'll lead to something else.
Well, and I agree with that. And okay, so again, what about someone who says, well, Amy, that's great, but I have so many obligations. I have kids. I have this. I have, and it's hard for me to say yes to everything. How do you balance? I mean, again, it's just this balance.
Sure.
When do I say no? And when we've been taught to say no, respect yourself, have a boundary.
Sure. Well, sure. I mean,
it's so hard.
There's a certain degree. I mean, when I was starting out, I did say yes to everything because I knew that it would lead. It's a bridge. I knew that it would lead to something else. And there are things I definitely said no to.
Right.
But when you get to a point where you feel successful, you can pick and choose what you. It's very methodical. You need to pick and choose what's it going to do for my business at that point. When you're starting out, you kind of want to do everything to get your name out there. So I think it depends on where you're at in your career on the yes and no factor. But
I agree. And I think if someone says, they feel stuck, what would be the best advice you would say?
Sure.
I just feel stuck. What do I do now?
Sure.
What's the first step now to do what I want to do?
In terms of that, like I said, step back from everything. You have to step back, reflect, and think about, why are you stuck? What are some ideas? What are some ways to get out of that? And you have to think outside of the box. You have to go out of your comfort zone and do things that you wouldn't normally do, or take that leap or an opportunity that maybe you passed up to get you out of that, to being stuck.
Exactly.
My suggestion.
Excellent. I wanted to know if you had any mentors, or who was your hero?
Sure. Well, this is very cliche, but my father, obviously.
It's not actually. I thought maybe be a designer or someone. It's your father. That's wonderful.
No, actually,
and why?
for sure, my father. He has a great story to tell, but there's 5 of us in the family, 5 girls, and I grew up with my dad. Watching him, when we were really little, he worked 3 jobs, and my mom was a stay-at-home mother, and then he started his own company in early 1990s, and now he is uber successful. So it was amazing to grow up with a father who took his dreams and went with them, even with 5 girls and a stay-at-home wife, and he's definitely my hero and definitely my inspiration.
And what are the qualities that what are the qualities in him that you saw, that you aspired to?
Well, he instilled in all of us that anything you want in life, you can get it yourself. Nobody's going to hand it to you. And if you want anything in life, you have to work hard to get it. Doesn't matter.
And that's the thing I wonder. If you say work hard, and does that mean that someone who does work hard, like even if they're someone who, say, is at a restaurant, they work hard, but they feel like they're not getting ahead, why is it that and why is it that one store sometimes is successful more than another? And I generally ask this question a lot, because what is it that what is the quality that makes one restaurant or one store more successful than the other? What is it that what is that quality?
I think that quality is tapping into a need. For example, in Cincinnati, there was a need for a women's wear designer. There's not one in the city who does ready-to-wear and evening wear and cocktail wear and bridal wear all in one. And I found that need, and capable and obviously talented to do it, so I'm doing it, and I'm successful doing it. So I think with a business, whether it's a restaurant or an engineering company, you find a need in the economy, that's something that's lacking perhaps, and, go for it.
I think that's excellent advice. And so it's really not a broad thing. It's more of finding a niche.
Absolutely.
The smaller the better.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And starting there and working your way up. And, you have, for example, I have a lot of loyal clients who come to me for everything from all around the world. Will come to me for my custom wear and ready to wear. And so when I create a line, they're going to buy my line because they love my custom wear that I've made for them. So, you're creating, with my business, I'm creating really customers for life, and I absolutely love it. It's amazing to be able to dress so many fabulous women.
It is amazing. I mean, what's the best advice you ever received or gave?
Sure. Well, that's really tough. I would say working hard.
Yeah.
My father saying, you're not going to get anything out of life unless you work hard. And it's not going to be easy, whether you open a business. It doesn't happen overnight. It takes a long time, but it's worth it in the end, if you're happy.
Right. And your typical work day, what is your typical day like?
Sure. A typical day, excluding family or including family.
Yeah, what's your typical day?
Sure. I mean, well, I get up.
You're a normal person.
Sure.
You balance family
Sure.
and husband.
Well, it's a little hectic, but I wake up and get my girls up, get them ready for school, drop them off, and then go into work, see my clients, work on designing, sketching, buying. Every day's a lot different, and then go home and have dinner like everybody else. So.
Yeah, and plus I know that Amy has an incredible social schedule too.
Yeah.
You do a lot of things for the city. Your name is always everywhere. I think that it's also an amazing testimony to who you are. You're always doing charity events. You really give yourself. And how important do you think that is?
Socially?
Yeah, I mean, how important do you think that is to your business or to you?
Absolutely.
To put your name on things and to be always volunteering. I mean, you're doing charity events constantly.
Sure. Well, I feel like I have a city who supports me, so I need to support the city. Whether it's charity or, participating in fundraising or just a social event. I want to support Cincinnati because Cincinnati supports me, so you have to give back.
Yeah,
for sure.
I do think that. Yeah, I do think that's another quality. I think it's a lot about you too. What is your vision for the future? What do you see? Yeah.
Well, I'm a go big or go home kind of girl. So
say that again.
Go big or go
home.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So
right. Finish first or finish last.
Exactly. So my vision, obviously, I would love to have my collection sold all around the country or world. And that's very tactical, figuring out where I start. And I would love to have my collections carried at certain department stores and, building my brand, hopefully having some more boutiques open or other Amy Kirschen stores. So that's kind of my goal.
Yeah, you're very close to that, I'm sure.
Yes.
Yes, you are. Well, I think that my question, I guess, to someone, again, it's always the viewer. It's the person who's trying to find their purpose, their passion.
Sure.
They might know what it is. They might know the first step. They're listening to you. They're saying it's hard work, it's effort, it's action, it's saying yes. It's I'm hearing these things from you. That's really important. But again, what's the first thing they're going to do? They understand. Maybe they want to open a dog grooming business.
Sure.
But what's going to set them apart from other dog grooming businesses? Why do people want to go there?
Sure.
What is that quality that's going to set them apart? I'm fascinated by, there's a row of restaurants or bars, and why is it that one is always more successful? Why?
That's a tough question.
It is, because you feel like every owner works hard. Every owner, if I get them on, they're going to say, I work hard, I get up, I work hard every day. Why? Why is one more successful than the other?
And that's it's really a tough question to answer. I feel like I said, finding your niche, and maybe one restaurant offers something that the customers can't get anywhere else. Or perhaps maybe it's their quality of service, or maybe it's the atmosphere they create. I think you have to find that need, whether it's a dog grooming business and say you offer, whatever, something that's not offered in Cincinnati, for example.
Yeah.
Finding that one thing that's not offered here and offering it in your restaurant or in your business.
You think it's maybe an elusive quality? Maybe it's something else?
Perhaps, and I think also creating an atmosphere. I mean, I think it's important what you build, how you build your business internally and externally, customer service to the experience. I think when you go in as a business owner and you have to see the full vision of it, from how the customer feels to how, your employees feel.
And I think you're answering my question now. I think it's how you make people feel.
Sure, absolutely.
And I'm answering my own questions, but I think that when you walk in, I think we all want to feel good.
Sure.
We all want to end up feeling inspired or good or whatever. And if you can do that somewhere, when I feel when I'm in your boutique, everyone's so friendly, they're so nice, it's so positive, it's uplifting. Your signature is there. And I think that's what set you apart from anyone else. And I think that's what makes Amy Kirchen so different. And I truly believe that. Amy, if you could be someone else, who would you be?
Who would I be?
Who would you be?
I don't know. That's a very tough question. I don't know if I can answer that. Who would I be? I don't know.
Maybe you'd be yourself.
Yeah, I don't think
Someone
I'd be
asked me, well, but it's interesting, and that's good that you feel that way. I mean, that, who would I want to be? Would you want to be you? I'm me.
I love the way I am, so I'm happy.
And that's great. And I think that that you are so blossoming, and you're always reinventing yourself. You're going somewhere, and that is, I mean, you're your own hero.
When you have to be happy with yourself, and you have to believe in yourself and be confident. I mean, and if you want to be somebody else, that's usually not a good sign.
Yeah,
you want to be. You need to be happy with yourself because there's only one you in the world. So.
And everyone else is taken.
Exactly.
So why not be you?
Exactly.
And what do you want to be known for?
I want to be known for my designing, obviously. I want to be known for my excellent women's wear and hopefully bringing a name to Cincinnati for designing and for fashion, long term. Like I said, hopefully one day being in, Milan Fashion Week or something, or, and being known that that Cincinnati has something to offer.
And how important that is that the local, the being Cincinnati, and how important really is that? Is that because you were born here? And
Sure, born and raised here. And I think Cincinnati is a mecca of design and talent and fashion, and we have UC's DAP, and it's an incredible city. And I'm absolutely proud that.
Does that have anything to do with your family and your father? Did that get instilled about the localness of it?
Not really. Family was instilled in working hard, but growing up and in my teenage years and now being more out in the social crowd, it's an amazing city, and I'm so proud to be born and raised here and to bring something to Cincinnati and offer something here.
And what if your daughters don't want to get involved?
Well, they don't.
That's not a big deal, right?
Not a big deal, but I will instill that you need to be proud of where you're from and and support your city.
And how do you deal with staff and people that I would think it would be hard for someone for you to give that creative, sort of extend your hand and say, okay, take over the boutique, and even though it's not you, I mean, it would.
Sure.
I think that would be hard.
A big trust factor, and the current staff I have, I see a lot of myself in them, and being young, and the yearning to be in fashion, and seeing all of this, and they're so creative and passionate, and each one of them I see a little bit of myself in, so it's awesome to be able to kind of not nurture them, but have my hand in terms of fashion and being their boss, and letting them grow and giving them some reign and letting them participate in my fashion world. So,
but how important is trust in the overall picture?
It's the most important thing in life, period. You trust.
Tell me more about that. What do you mean?
Trusting the friendship and things that you say, and trusting your business, and trusting how they handle the client, and trust is a big factor in life.
Knowing when to step back and knowing when to go back in.
And it's respect. You have to have that respect in between both. As an employee and an employer, you have to have respect for both.
I mean, do you think that's a necessary quality as well for
respect?
Success?
Absolutely.
Trust.
Trust and respect. Absolutely. I think.
So you may actually. That's an intangible thing, and it's hard. It's hard to know.
Absolutely.
And maybe so much that if you don't trust and you push, it may actually not work.
No, I think if you are working for somebody and you don't trust them, and you, what do you have left if you can't trust your own? Your own company you work for, then you're always worried. You're worried.
Or your own decisions, or someone else's decisions.
Sure.
You're always worried.
Yeah.
Yeah. I find that interesting, and I wonder, what do you do to keep centered, or what do you do to help keep these qualities nurtured?
Sure. Well,
how do you escape?
Sure. You mean as far as being a boss, or?
Yeah, and being a person.
Trust.
I mean, what do you do as far as what does Amy do to get away from?
To get away from everything.
To get away from Amy. to get away from Amy Kirchen, the brand?
Sure.
What do you do?
Relaxing with my family, taking trips with my family. Sometimes just having a weekend where it's me and the girls and my husband, and just taking walks and opening up a bottle of wine and turning my phone off. Really, it's turning my phone off, not checking my email, and just reflecting and enjoying my life as a mother and a wife.
So you do have quiet times?
Oh, absolutely. You have to have quiet time.
Yeah. And what do you do to stretch yourself? I mean, what do you do to, give yourself something to strive for?
Sure. Oh my gosh. Well, I think the passion in what I'm doing, and when I have a happy client, every time I have a happy client, it kind of it gives me life.
Yeah.
So that happens every week. So
I mean,
constant.
inspiration. Where do you go for inspiration?
Sure. Well, depending on what it's in regards to, as far as inspiration for designing for a client, I'm typically inspired by the client based on their personality, their lifestyle. And
I would think traveling, you probably see
sure,
art and things, and people, and street fashion. I mean, does street fashion have anything to do, or
the world is inspiring when it comes to fashion. You can look out your window and I could be inspired for a gown. I mean, little things like that. My family inspires me. My passion inspires me. There's a lot that inspires me but it's hard to kind of contain together.
Well, plus and ready to wear, and that is
and you have to always be fashion
factor.
forward. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You want to look. You have to look ahead and see. Predict. Really, it's going on a limb. What is going to be in style? And I try to design more staple but trendy. Each season, so people can really wear it.
And I just wondered that. Do you think that other successful people need to hang around with like-minded people to keep themselves
sure,
going to
absolutely.
higher realms? Or,
Absolutely. I think when you have a group of creative people in one room, you kind of feed off of each other, and you're inspired off of each other.
Yeah.
I think, absolutely.
Did you find that in the early days that your family or friends or people misjudged you, or maybe found that you had a drive, obviously?
Sure.
And I think that's also something that's a factor.
Oh, sure. I think I'm an artistic person. I think some people think sometimes we're a little crazy. When I think maybe we are a little bit, but I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Was that hard at all? And sometimes in the early, people sort of fell away and didn't believe in you, or didn't understand, maybe?
I think people just didn't understand. What is she doing? Why? And I think fashion, it's difficult for a lot of people to understand.
Right.
If you don't like fashion, you don't understand it.
Right.
So, to support that is out of the question for those who don't.
And what would you say to people then you would say, keep going. Don't worry about the people falling away.
You honestly cannot worry what anybody says.
Never live for someone else.
No, not at all.
No.
You have to just almost put the blinders on. You
That's
can't
right.
care
Never
what people
dim
think.
yourself down, because if you don't, because absolutely they would actually trade places with you.
Sure.
In a minute. No, but Amy, you have been an inspiration to me, and I know to so many people. And I thank you so much for what you're doing and contributing to this city and to the world, eventually the world, and Milan. And I just want to say that your vision for where you want to go, what you want to be known for, you're already doing. You're already doing. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Come find yourself. The world needs you, all of you. How long are you willing to wait? Are you ready?